Hi guys, welcome back. Today I would like to talk about the pros and cons of solo hiking with a dog. If you're thinking about solo hiking with a dog, stay tuned because I would like to give you some things to keep in mind and maybe some useful tips. First, I would like to talk about the pros of solo hiking with a dog. And the first one is that you can totally hike your own hike. Of course, that's something said very often in the hiking community, hike your own hike. And especially when you're having a dog with you, it of course needs a little bit of adjusting in your hike. And that's what I say a lot in my videos as well. Adjust the length of your hike and your hike in general to your dog. So when you're solo hiking, that's very easy to do because you can do whatever you like in regards to the distance that you're going to cover in a day. See whenever you would like to take a break, take a look at your dog when he or she needs a break, and then you can play around a little bit with your schedule for the day and what you're planning and everything. So it's really a great pro that you can really hike your own hike. Pro number 2 is the huge amount of flexibility that you have. When you're hiking solo with your dog, it's very easy to adjust your hike, like I said, and then make sure that you can be very flexible in regards to your dog. When you've got a sort of schedule and it turns out during the hike that you're not able to stick to that schedule, it's no problem at all when you're solo hiking because you can adjust the length of your hike per day and see how much mileage you're going to cover each week when you're out on a long distance hike. And that gives you more flexibility than when you're hiking with somebody else. Because when you're hiking with somebody else, of course, they have a schedule. They maybe have to be back in time for an appointment, back for work, or whatever reason they have to get back in time. And when you're out alone, you're very flexible and you can adjust your hike every minute of the day. Pro number 3 is that there's nobody there to take care about, just the two of you. You do not have to worry about anybody else. Is your hiking partner okay? Is he coming up with the speed that you're hiking? Is the mileage okay? Is he or she okay with the breaks that you would like to take? None of that exists when you're solo hiking. And I think that's a really good pro because you have only you and your dog to take care of. And when you see that you need a break or you see that your dog needs a break, easily to take it. Don't have to ask anybody else if he or she agrees on it or he or she is fine with it. Just do whatever you would like to do. And the fourth pro, I think that's the best one. And that is that the bond between you and your dog grows tremendously. When it's just the two of you, you really have to rely on each other. Just together, nobody else is involved. And it's just all the time that you spend on the trail, you're spending together with your dog. So it really, really makes your connection way much better. What's not good about that? That's the biggest pro in my opinion. But obviously, there are some cons as well. And I would like to discuss some of those as well. The first one is the planning and logistics actually. Because when you're hiking with a dog, especially when you're solo hiking, your planning takes up way more time. There's a lot of things more to keep in mind than when you're hiking with 2, 3 or even a larger group. So when you're out alone with your dog, make sure that your planning is decent and very properly. And when that's fixed, that con maybe becomes a pro. The second con is that resupplying is very hard. Here in the Netherlands, we do not have the possibility to send resupply boxes in advance. We cannot ship anything to post offices or something. So when you're solo hiking with your dog, keep in mind that resupplying isn't very easy because, at least when you're like me, I'm not leaving my dog alone outside at a supermarket or something. Maybe at a small bakery when there's just one big large window so I can see him all the time. But no way that I'm going to leave Ravi, who's here beside me by the way. I'm going to leave him outside in front of a supermarket because here in the Netherlands it's common that dogs who are being left alone outside at the supermarket are being stolen by mostly Eastern European people that are stealing dogs for dog fights and things like that, and I absolutely do not want that to happen. So resupplying might be a thing. So what I always try to do is that I take all the food with me for the entire trail, and of course that's easily doable when you're hiking for just a few days. But when I'm hiking for several weeks, I'm always trying to find out in advance when I'm going to have a zero. And then when I'm staying on a specific campsite, I ask that campsite in advance if I can send them a box or maybe drop it off on my way to the trailhead if I'm passing by it by car. So I have some resupplies on the go. I am planning a very long distance hike with Ravi as well, which will take us about 6 weeks. And then I have also the option that, because obviously the Netherlands is a small country, that once in a week I have an appointment or I meet up with my mom, and she is going to bring us the food for the next week. So that's how we resupply, but that's really something to keep in mind when you're solo hiking with your dog. Con number 3. There's nobody to rely on. It's just you and your dog, so you have the responsibility for both yourself and your dog. So make sure that you are able and capable of taking that responsibility. Know exactly how to take care of your dog on the trail. For example, also know first aid for dogs, not only for yourself, but also know how to help your dog when he or she is in an emergency situation, injured or whatever. Small things like sore muscles, not feeling very well, vomiting, know what to do, because you have the responsibility. And if you are able to take it, nothing will stand you in your way. And the last con is that you're lonely, but also together. For some people, solo hiking might not be a thing because they are not good in being lonely, being alone, having to spend every night alone in your tent or alone at the campsite. That can be a problem for some people. So solo hiking means that you're sometimes very lonely. But for me, it brings some kind of peace, some serenity. I really like it. I don't have a problem at all with it. But although I've got Ravi with me, of course, and that means that although I am alone, not always lonely, but alone, I never really am because I've got my little buddy with me. And maybe of course I can talk to him and he's not going to talk back, but he is there. But it can be a con for some people that although you're not totally alone, you can feel very lonely. So be aware and know yourself just to be sure that this will not be a problem for you. So these were some pros and cons in regards to solo hiking with a dog. I hope this video was helpful to you, that it gave you some hand-ons or some hand-on ideas to keep in mind when you're thinking about solo hiking with your dog. And be aware that not every pro is a pro to everybody and not every con is a con to everybody. It's how your mindset is, it's what you think about solo hiking, how you feel about solo hiking, and it's something that I really like. I don't have a problem at all with solo hiking, just because I can do whatever I would like to do. And maybe that sounds selfish, but not having to be aware of somebody else and just doing what you want, what you like, having a break when you want, doing the mileage per day that you want. That's for me something that really, it calms me down in a sort of way. It's really relaxing, and having a company of my little buddy Ravi makes it absolutely complete. And for me, it is the best thing to do. But know yourself to be sure that this is also for you. I hope this video was helpful to you, and as always, enjoy the outdoors, and we will catch you on the next trail. Goodbye!